Operator, we'll take the next caller, please.
Thank you. Dan Hirsch, you may ask your question.
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
Miserably. How are you?
Better than you. Better than you. Go ahead. What's your question or comment?
I'm quite struck by the lack of candor in response to Secretary Adams' question as to whether the process that you are contemplating will permit all of the necessary safety information to be available and be reviewed prior to making the decision.
Well, let's take another...
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Let me try to finish. What has not been said here clearly is that what is being proposed by Edison, and apparently with some kind of indication of prior agreement by NRC staff, is to get this license amendment, which is essential for a restart of the crippled reactors, and do so with a safety hearing that would occur after the fact. The phrase that has been used over and over again is that they're requesting a no significant hazards consideration, but you really have not disclosed what that means. Is as in the Old West days where the judge says, we'll hang them now, but we will give them a fair trial later. What you are proposing to this entire session, have not been candid about, is to permit a hearing, but only after it is too late, to give them the approval and allow a hearing to occur long after the fact. And this occurs after Edison had screwed up initially on the steam generators by insisting that they be able to be put in without a hearing which could have disclosed the fundamental design problems, and NRC staff having screwed up in allowing that to occur. So what is going on right now, I think we just have to be really clear about. About 10 days ago, there was an oral argument before the Atomic Safety and Licensing Board about whether or not what the two of you are doing violates the law and is in fact a de facto license amendment process, and that a hearing would be required. And what NRC staff and Edison are doing, after being given a very rough time by the licensing board, which was very skeptical of what you are doing, is you're trying to pull the rug out from under three administrative law judges of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, carrying out a mandate given to them by the Commission to determine whether what you're doing really does require a hearing. And the idea that you could try to get this thing turned on in less than 2 months from now and hold the hearing long afterwards, I think is simply scandalous. And at least you should be candid about it. You should say, yeah, Edison wants us to give them this approval, but make sure that none of the safety concerns that the experts who are not at Edison and not at NRC staff wish to raise before a licensing board could be heard before they get the approval. But we really do not have a system of justice in this country that is supposed to hang you first and give you your trial later. But that is what you two entities are doing right now. I don't think you'll succeed. I think you're doing something in the face of that licensing board that will anger them greatly. I think it will create a furor on the Hill because the Commission has promised the Congress that there would be complete review and that review completed before any decision to start up. But at least you should today have been clear that what you're proposing is to have the review after the approval. The hearing would be permitted, but long after it can make any difference. And I just think that you're undercutting any chance of credibility for Edison to be believed that it can run a facility safely, or for the NRC staff to be viewed as an entity that can determine whether or not it is safe. So I just want to say it's exceedingly troubling, and if you're going to do it, at least you should be candid about it. To have gone through this whole meeting and not really made clear to people that you're proposing that any safety hearing occur after the fact, it really shows how embarrassed you are about what you're really doing.
All right. Thank you, Dan.
I'm not sure, well, if there's specific questions within there, but what I'll try to do is respond to some of the statements that were made, and that, first of all, as we've stated in numerous instances previously, and I'll restate again today, that it is, we will not allow a restart until we're confident that the unit can be operated safely. And that's independent of if any license amendment requests or even the ASLB activities. We would not allow them to operate if we did not believe that they were safe to operate, and we will not allow that to occur. And we will take whatever time necessary in order to make that determination. From the standpoint of the license amendment request and any hearing process, we're going to follow the process that's required of us, and we are going to do that. We're going to be in full compliance with that. We're going to follow the normal process. It's our normal process. We are going to do that. The licensee, SE, has not asked for an exigent or an emergency amendment request, so there is no cutting short any time frames by which people can make, can request a hearing or cutting short the opportunity for public participation because of emergency or exigent situations, that apply. So we are going to follow that process, the normal process. So that's, I hope that responds to the...
Not at all. You just weren't candid. Is it not true that what you and Edison are proposing is to hold the hearing as to whether this is safe after the fact? Is that not what you're proposing?
I'm indicating that we're going to follow our process. The regulation
is to hold the hearing after the decision to approve the license amendment.
Okay. All right.
The regulation. The trial after the hanging.
All right. Hang on a second, Dan. He's trying to respond to you. Doug.
Okay. The regulation that dictates our review of the no significant hazards consideration specifies that if we, the staff, are able to make a no significant hazards consideration determination, that we are able to proceed with that regardless of whether there is any request or for a hearing or other pending action within the ASLB. Whether it's either before the ASLB. We do plan to make the notifications that are specified in that regulation as well. If there is a hearing request or if the ASLB, the action proceeding is still ongoing, we will make a notification. Our plan is to make a notification prior to that action being completed. Any action being completed, whether it's a restart decision under the CAL or a decision under a license amendment. That my understanding of this, and I'm getting outside of my range of a full understanding here, but my understanding is so that there's an opportunity for parties, parties of those actions to be able to take action as a result of that possible action that could be occurring. So that's. We want to make that notification prior to either of those two decisions being made.
All right. All right. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for your comments and your opinions. We appreciate them.